He is. That's not.
And by the way, I got to give credit to Cernovich. He was the first to say that Trump couldn't stand McMaster out of the gates, that you confirm that later by other sources. And he was the first to say McMaster just hired a new general to be his aide-de-camp without even consulting Congress or the president. It's just all this rogue arrogance where they yes man to the president's face and then do and then do whatever they want. So here's the key. I meant to ask this question.
Oh, and I have a new story too. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll let you finish, but I did have something I wanted to talk about McMaster, but
no, you break that, and then I'm going to bring up this thing about, because Trump listens and others do, what he should do in the shakeup dealing with the press, because I wanted to raise that last hour, but now that we're all here, we'll do it and then go to call. So go ahead and hit McMaster, the National Security Advisor.
So I talked to Roger Stone on his great podcast, The Stone Cold Truth, that Trump's plan was to get McMaster his 4th star. The Pentagon is actually dragging its feet on that. This is breaking news. They can't stand him in the Army. They don't want him back doing more active duty Army type stuff. And they're stalling the plan to give him his 4th star because I quote, multiple Pentagon sources said, McMaster is unfit to lead. That is a direct quote. So the question is, if he's unfit to lead in the Army, why is he head of the National Security Council? So that is breaking news. He was supposed to get that 4th star, but the Pentagon, multiple sources in the Pentagon have confirmed to me, said we don't want him back. Is it because he's
compromised, or he always claims that he should be in command, or is dereliction of duty?
Right. So they said, and this is a direct quote, McMaster is unfit to lead. He's unfit to serve. And that really, it says it all. And they're also
did they give a hint of why he's unfit?
Well, he's a warmonger. All he knows is let's drop in tanks and bomb people and blow people up and destroy things. And he doesn't understand 4th generation warfare. He doesn't understand.
Is that why he's always claiming he's an expert in 4th generation warfare and HUMAT and capturing hearts and minds?
Yeah, he is not. That's the thing, and he dismisses it. He's actually said, we don't have time for that 4th generation warfare nonsense, even though, as you know, the information war is about, hey, there's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. That is the reality. We have to find a way to make them more like Christians, to make them more civilized.
Yeah, they've got to reform. They've got to have a Martin Luther instead of us reforming and putting a jibs on. Exactly. We're not changing. So either stay in your desert hellhole or stop killing us. Go ahead.
Right, and the flip side of that is we need to quit blowing up their homes too, because that is only going to ferment more violence.
Well, that's the globalist plan, is to stir them up.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's what McMaster is doing, is he wants to go in, blow people up, destroy their lives, then you create a refugee crisis, then you say we have to let them in. Which the UN uses,
which is a UN plan.
Right, exactly. Then we have to let them in, and they say, oh, how can we not let them in? These people are suffering. Well, if we had never blown up their countries like McMaster wants to do, so we need to focus more on propaganda, psyops, telling these people, making them more moderate.
Psyops promoting real free market and good stuff, soft power. Psyops that are truthful, the ones that work.
I'm going to expand the definition of lobbyists so we close all the loopholes that former government officials use by labeling themselves consultants, advisors, all of these different things, and they get away with murder. Not going to happen. I'm going to issue a lifetime ban against senior executive branch officials lobbying on behalf of a foreign government. We're going to drain the swamp of corruption.
President Donald Trump intends on draining the swamp, knowing full well who they are. Those swamp things, like the scum that they are, have begun rising to the top. James Clapper, former director of national intelligence, aka the Deep State, a man that lied to Congress about the violation of the rights of every American citizen, is somehow a credible spokesperson presented to a supposed gullible America on the Mockingbird media circuit?
I think in many ways, our institutions are under assault, both externally, and that's the big news here, is the Russian interference in our election system. And I think as well, our institutions are under assault internally.
Internally from the president?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Maxine Waters, a race-baiting Trump troll, incoherently lunges with walnut-brain zeal at the prospect of continuing the California Cloward and Piven divide-and-conquer scheme to her hordes of anti-white, anti-American supporters.
Go back to Europe! Go back to Europe! this guy right here needs to go back to Europe, back to England. You can tell in Irish too. That's where you gotta go back.
I'm not from England.
That's your ancestry's from? Or
No.
You can tell you're a little British, a little Eastern European.
No.
That's where you should go back. Go back to where you're from. Pilgrim.
58 people died. Many more were gravely injured, including a man called Reginald Denny. He was a truck driver who happened to be at the wrong intersection at the wrong time, and more than anything, the wrong color. Because of his race, Denny was pulled from his truck and smashed in the head with a cinder block until he sustained brain damage. It was a hate crime if there ever was one. It all happened on videotape. A helicopter caught it, and it happened in Maxine Waters' city. But she did not denounce the attack. On the contrary, she all but endorsed the attack. The leader of the mob that nearly murdered Reginald Denny was called Damian Williams. Now, Maxine Waters visited Damian Williams' mother to offer her support. Williams was sent to prison on a single felony charge of mayhem, but when his accomplices got off, Waters joined in the celebration. Damian Williams was released just a few years later and went on to murder somebody else in 2000. He's still in prison today. But Waters did not learn a thing from the experience. She went on to describe the LA race riots as, quote, a rebellion, and in ways understandable, including apparently the part about smashing people's brains in for being the wrong color.
So if Hillary Clinton had won the White House, would you have recommended that she fire FBI Director James Comey?
Well, let me tell you something. If she had won the White House, I believe that given what he did to her and what he tried to do, she should have fired him, yes.
So she should have fired him, but he shouldn't have fired him. This is why I'm confused.
No, you're not confused. There are those who think that he, in some ways, have some connections to what is going on in the Ukraine and perhaps in Russia itself.
I've not seen any evidence produced of that. I've encountered that speculation.
If the criminals in D.C. were smart, they would contain maximum overdrive Maxine before the swamp's floodgates burst.
We have begun to drain the swamp of government corruption by imposing a 5-year ban on lobbying by executive branch officials and a lifetime ban. Thank you.
John Bowne for Infowars.com.